Tuscaloosa to frenzy.
He caught it. It's caught. It's caught. We talked about Alabama.
Well, finish it off in style.
Swing and a fly ball. Third Sunday in March belongs to the Crimson Tide.
Clock hits 0, and let's get out of here. Let's go to the Final Four.
And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four for the first time in program history.
Roll Tide and welcome inside the Crimson Tide production studio at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by my co-host Lillian Everest. And Lillian, it's April, and we're still talking about Alabama basketball.
Yes, we are, Roger, and that's a good thing because the Crimson Tide is in the Final Four for the first time in school history.
Coach Oates and the Crimson Tide advanced from the Sweet 16 to the Final Four with 2 big wins over the weekend, including taking down #1 seed North Carolina. Tar Heels jumped out to a 26-19 lead in the first half, but then after that, the Crimson Tide used a huge run to take a 17-5 run to take a 5-point lead at 36-31. Tar Heels would answer back with an 11-2 run to close out the half and take a 54-46 lead at the break.
Alabama evened the score with an impressive 13-5 run out of the break to make it 59-all with just over 12 minutes to play. The Tar Heels retook the lead, and with Alabama trailing by 5 with just over 7 to play, the Tide went on a huge 15-5 run, with 10 of those points coming from Grant Nelson to take a 5-point lead, 82-77, with just under 4 to play.
North Carolina answered right back, scoring the next 8 points to take a 3-point lead with just a minute and a half to play. But Grant Nelson's second half surge proved to be too much as Alabama ended the game on a 7-2 run, with the final 5 points of the game coming from Nelson, as Alabama advanced to the Elite Eight for just the second time in school history with the 89-87 win over #1 seed North Carolina.
Grant Nelson led the way with a game-high 24 points, 19 of those points being second-half points. Nelson also finished with 12 rebounds and 5 blocks.
Rylan Griffin and Aaron Estrada each scored 19, while Mark Sears added 18 points in the win.
That win over #1 seed North Carolina placed Alabama in the Elite Eight for just the second time in school history.
Alabama's Elite Eight matchup would be a familiar one for the Crimson Tide in the college football playoffs, but this time it was the NCAA tournament with a chance for both schools to make it to the Final Four for the first time in school history.
Clemson doubled up on Alabama early as the Tigers jumped out to a 26-13 lead. However, the Tide came roaring back with a 20-2 run as the Crimson Tide led by 3 at the break, 35-32.
Alabama connected on just 6 of 21 from beyond the arc in the first half, but in the second half, the Tide knocked down 10 of 15 from 3, including 5 straight from Mark Sears. Jaron Stevenson also knocked down 5 of 8 from beyond the arc as well, as Alabama shot 70% from the floor over the final minutes, as the Tide rolled into the Final Four for the first time in school history with the 89-82 win over Clemson.
Mark Sears had a game-high 23 points as he knocked down 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. Jaron Stevenson hit 5 of 8 from long range as he finished with a career-high 19 points, while Nick Pringle battled through a heel bruise to finish with a double-double, 16 points and 11 rebounds.
And if you're looking for a great place to watch the Tide's Final Four matchup against #1 overall seed UConn Huskies, look no further. Join Crimson Tide fans for the team's official watch party inside Coleman Coliseum. Admission is free and doors open at 7 p.m. You can find out more information on the Tide's Final Four watch party at rolltide.com.
Now, the Tide has been called soft, frail, they can't play defense, but all they've done is won on their way to the Final Four. And what do they say, Roger? Is it lank?
Yeah, I think that's let all naysayers know, Lillian, and the Crimson Tide have certainly done that so far in the NCAA tournament. They'll need to do it one more time, though, as UConn is being picked by almost every analyst and expert by double digits.
I'm going to sit here and say it's going to be probably a double-digit win for UConn.
Grant Nelson, yeah, he's okay. He's okay, but he's not a dude. Jaron Stevenson isn't ready.
They just gonna be the next contestant on the get your ass kicked by UConn.
And everyone said about Bama coming into this tournament, and I agreed, not going to get too far because they refuse to play defense. Alabama plays no defense. They are far and away the worst defensive basketball team left in this tournament.
Now you're going to get Carolina, and Carolina should conga line to the foul line against Alabama.
It takes 2 L's to spell Roll Tide.
Look at this Alabama roster. You're probably not taking Alabama in any of those scenarios, right?
I am taking Clemson to crash this.
Alabama basketball is headed to the Final Four.
And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four for the first time in program history.
We sold? We sold? I'm mentally sold.
Sold for real. They said he wasn't ready.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
Comes to tradition and the history of the program, it's second to none.
Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover alongside Lillian Everest. And Lillian, this past weekend, another great SEC showdown in baseball in Tuscaloosa.
It sure was, Roger. We had another top 15 matchup here at the Joe as number 15 Alabama hosted number 10 South Carolina.
The Crimson Tide scored 2 runs in a really unconventional way in Game 1. Alabama got its first run of the game off a wild pitch in the 5th to make it 2-1 South Carolina. Then, with the score tied at 3-all in the 8th, another wild pitch gave the Crimson Tide the winning run. Evan Slight came home to give Alabama the 4-3 win in the series opener.
Alabama jumped out to a 5-0 lead in Game 2 with the help of this Evan Slight 2-run homer to left center. The Gamecocks tied the score at 6-all in the 6th, but the Tide exploded with a 7-run 8th inning to put the game out of reach. Ian Patrutz finished off that 8th inning with a 3-run blast to right field as Alabama took home the series win with a 13-6 win in Game 2.
Game 3, Alabama trailing 9-4 in the 9th. Tide scored 4 runs to get within just a run. Evan Slight tapped one down the third base line. All runners would advance. However, TJ McCants got caught off the bag at third on a really heads-up play by South Carolina's third baseman as the Tide rally fell short 9-8. Really great series win despite the rally falling short in Game 3. It was Alabama's second SEC series win in all 3 tries.
A top 10 series win for the Crimson Tide for sure. Let's go all access for that big series over 10th ranked South Carolina.
An absolutely gorgeous Thursday in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, as we get set for a top 25 matchup on this Thursday night. It's SEC baseball. This should be a fun matchup this weekend.
You got 2 top 20 teams. You got 2 teams going opposite directions. Bama trying to find their mojo back here at home.
Their job in the 2nd inning for Zane Adams and the Crimson Tide. Nice pickoff move for the lefty. First pitch lined out into right center field. A leadoff base hit for Cade Snell. Baseball in the dirt. That's going to get Alabama on the board. That's a strikeout for Matthew Heiberger. 2-2, swing and a miss. That is a big strikeout for Heiberger. And that one's going to go all the way to Wallace. What a good at-bat from William Hamilton. Gassetti picks up his 17th RBI of the season. It makes it a 1-run game. Gets past Messina, trying to score. The throw to the plate. Ball pops out. Alabama takes the lead. 4-3, Crimson Tide in front. Malcolm Davis gets the strikeout, and Alabama gets the win in Game 1 of this weekend series. A top 25 matchup in Tuscaloosa. Man, keep going, Senator. You guys are going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Come on, boys.
Right on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's time for Game 2 of this series between the 16th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide and the 18th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. But if Game 2 of this series is anything like Game 1, we're in for a thriller once again. Got him swinging. 3 pitches, 3 strikes for Ben Hess to begin this game against South Carolina. 95 miles per hour on the fastball for Hess. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 2nd. Base hit to left field. Alabama adds to its lead. Gassetti scores. Here comes Miller. The throw, the tag. Miller is safe. And the Crimson Tide have a 3-0 lead in the 3rd. Evan Slight, cleanup batter. Guys it high and deep to center field. Right up against the wall, and this one's gone.
Alabama lead in the third.
Hasta luego, Pelota. I mean, that ball just got a second gear off the bat.
And a smash down the line and right. It's a fair ball into the corner. TJ is flying around first with a leadoff double to start the Bama fifth.
Sends it high to right field. Ian Patron says hello, Rangers. A 3-run homer, 13-6, Alabama.
That is the dagger that Alabama needed right there. Ian Patron puts a great at-bat together, gets a hanging off-speed pitch and absolutely crushes it.
And that's the ball game. And the Tide rolls 13-6.
The 11th ranked Crimson Tide picked up an 11-10 win over Samford on Wednesday to improve to 22-7 overall. This weekend, Coach Vaughn's crew travels to Lexington to take on the 18th ranked Kentucky Wildcats.
And speaking of the Wildcats, the 13th ranked Alabama softball team was in Lexington this past weekend. The Tide dropped Game 1 to the Wildcats 6-3, but rebounded in a big way in Game 2. Callie Hevlin got the scoring started in the third with a shot over the center field wall to make it 1-0. In the fourth, a Marley Giles homer to left made it 3-0 Crimson Tide.
Then in the 6th inning, up 6-3, it was Jenna Johnson putting the game out of reach with a 3-run bomb down the left field line. Kayla Beaver picked up her 11th win of the year as the Crimson Tide rolled in Game 2 with a 9-4 win. The 14th ranked Crimson Tide will host Ole Miss this weekend at Rhodes Stadium for a 3-game series beginning on Friday.
The Alabama football team continued spring practice this week. We'll show you the highlights from the Tide's first scrimmage of the year and hear from one of our Tide stars on the offensive line. That and more coming up next right here on TideTV This Week.
Comes to tradition and the history of the program, it's second to none.
Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover alongside Lillian Everest.
Roger, Alabama's first scrimmage under Coach DeBoer was this past Thursday. Let's go all access for an inside look at the Tide's first scrimmage of the spring.
The first scrimmage is a lot about that, just playing ball. All right, and the key is get better every play.
I'm gonna go out here and get the defense what they want, man.
After Saturday's scrimmage, the Crimson Tide will practice Tuesday and Thursday next week before Saturday's A-Day game.
Our Christopher England caught up with one of the leaders on the offensive line for the Crimson Tide after practice in this week's Fresh Off the Field.
We're fresh off the field here inside the weight room here at the University of Alabama. I'm joined by offensive lineman Jaden Roberts. Jaden, how's it going?
It's going very good, just getting to work and, another great day.
Kind of sweaty. Practices are kind of intense, aren't they?
Yes, sir. We're just getting back to the grind. Still kind of in the off season, but, we're working towards something great and just trying to keep up the good work.
You're a guy that kind of came on during the season last year, become one of the leaders. Just kind of talk about that role for you, just kind of being one of the guys on the offensive line that's become one of the leaders.
You know, I just been trying to do my job ever since last season. You know, I'm a leader in my own way. You know, I always wanted the guys to see the best example of me, the standard, you know, what we're fighting for as an O-line, you know. But, you know, I had a lot of great mentors. I just want to be that for the next generation of O-linemen.
You have a new offensive line coach this year, Coach Kaplowitz. Just kind of talk about him, just kind of the impact that he's made so far on this offense.
Coach Kaplowitz, you know, he's a great O-line coach. You know, he's very fundamental, very, very into details. He just wants the best for the O-line. You know, he brought a lot of impact to the O-line, you know, just trying to get us better every day and, you know, just trying to get the youngins better too, you know. But overall, as an O-line, we really love Coach Kaplowitz.
Talk about this offense, new offensive coordinator too, maybe a different style of offense. Just kind of tell us a little bit of the identity of this offense.
Yeah, you know, Coach Sheridan, you know, he brings a lot to the table as an offensive coordinator, you know, with just different details, different plays, you know, to help us in the run game and pass game. You know, it's just going to be really effective when we, you know, put the pads on Saturday night and just go to work.
Talk about Coach DeBoer. Talk about the impact and just what you've seen from him, just the difference he's made so far.
Coach DeBoer is truly a great leader. I will say he's a very good head coach. You know, he just wants the best for his team. He wants to see everybody detailed. Really just working your tail off till the whistle's blown. You know, he's just a really great coach overall. He just wants the best for his team.
Lastly, Jane, just a little bit about you. What are some goals for you this spring and for the upcoming season?
My goals is to get better as a person, as an athlete on the field and off the field. Really just want to get better at being a mentor for my guys and just understand my role overall and just going into the season, you know, just kick butt.
Jaden, we appreciate it, man. Good luck this spring and on the upcoming season. And Roll Tide.
Appreciate you. Roll Tide.
For Jaden Roberts, I'm Christopher England, and this has been Fresh Off the Field.
Fan base is one like no other. All right, that's for real. What you got here, your home field advantage is for real.
In front of a full house at the Rhodes House.
It goes to the wall and it's gone.
A miracle comeback for the Crimson Tide.
How about some noise at the Rhodes House tonight?
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
Welcome back to TideTV This Week. We've still got several more sports to cover this week, and we start with the Alabama men's swimming and diving team.
The men's team has been in action this past weekend in Indianapolis for the NCAA championships.
Alabama finished with 11 All-America honors from 6 different swimmers. Charlie Hawk and Kaike Alves paced the Tide, with Hawk picking up 4 honors, including first-team nods in the 200 and 500 freestyle, and Alves won 3, including a second-team selection in the 200 freestyle.
2 relay teams also earned All-America honors. The 800 freestyle relay team of Hawk, Alves, Tommy Hager, and Leonardo Alcantara, and the 400 freestyle relay team of Hawk, Alves, Zarek Wilson, and Tim Cortanze earned second-team honors.
Chris Robinson was named the SEC Men's Track and Field Runner of the Week as he recorded an NCAA leading and meet record time of 49:13 and the men's 400-meter hurdles at the Battle of the Bayou in LSU. Robinson was also a member of the 4x400-meter relay team that won the event title with a meet record and NCAA leading time of 3:00.77.
And Samuel Agazi was named SEC Freshman of the Week. Agazi clocked the 3rd fastest time in the nation in the 400-meter dash. He also captured the fastest U20 400-meter time in the world and was also part of that NCAA leading 4x400-meter relay team.
And competing at Stanford, Hilla Olamomoy clocked an NCAA leading time of 32:22.20 in the women's 10,000 meter to claim first place at the Stanford Invitational.
A great week for the Alabama track and field team, and with that, the men's team jumped into the top 10 this week as the Crimson Tide men earned the number 8 spot in this week's coaches poll.
And in women's golf, Harriet Lockley finished 7th overall at the Liz Murphy Intercollegiate with a 1 over par 217. As a team, Mick Potter's squad finished 6th overall with a score of 20 over par 884.
Stay with us. We still have our plays and players of the week coming up next in just 90 seconds.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
And for the first time
since 2010. The Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama.
Start the party for the right field Rangers.
This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gates of Omaha, and we're going to do that here real soon.
Double comes Nelson with a block, and it's a held ball. So they follow up, and Sears cuts it. Sears lays it in. Estrada spins, lost his balance, and still finishes. With the reverse and the switch of hands. Nelson for three. Got it! Boars Nelson inside. Nelson a foul. It goes! And one! Alabama! Dumps it inside. Stevenson a rim run.
They have numbers. Beautiful pass inside by Pringle.
Nelson crashes, and Nelson hammers one down. What an answer. Then the hot hand, step back three. Money! Mark Sears again!
Bama throws the home run to Estrada. Run clock, 2-1. Layup good. 1.9 to go. Tigers inbounded. Clock hits 0. And let's get out of here and go to the Final Four. The Tide rises in the West.
And those were a really special March Madness Elite 8 edition of our Plays of the Week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
Now let's take a look at our Players of the Week, and I think we have to stick with the March Madness theme again this week, Roger.
And we start with the star in the win over North Carolina, Grant Nelson. Nelson had one of his best games in a Crimson Tide uniform as he had a huge second half, scoring 19 of his game-high 24 points in that second period. Nelson also added 12 rebounds and 5 blocks.
Freshman Jaron Stevenson had a career night to help the Crimson Tide reach the Final Four. Stevenson finished with a season-high 19 points on 7 of 11 from the floor, knocking down 5 of 8 shots from the three-point line in Alabama's win over Clemson.
And Mark Sears was also named the West Region Most Valuable Player. He became Alabama's single-season scoring champion with 773 points, surpassing Reggie King's total of 747. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Tide TV this week. We'll see you again right here, same time and the same channel.
You can also watch us online at RollTide.com and on our official UA Athletics page on YouTube. See you next week, everyone. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,